Now let's begin with the war against corruption and some funny but sad stories that come with it. The immediate past Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, said he thought he would not be prosecuted over alleged 109 billion naira fraud, which he's been tried along with 3 others. Idris said he decided to cooperate with investigators from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and provide them with the information they wanted to ease their investigation with the belief that he wouldn't be prosecuted. BKO, let's begin with you on this matter, because when we look at this, one will wonder what exactly is wrong, or what do you think he was thinking, perhaps because he also alleged that the EFCC had assured him that he wouldn't be subjected to any trial if he gave details that would implicate the former ministers of finance and, of course, the governors. What are your thoughts, first up, on this?
Well, the EFCC have denied making that promise to him. He has already admitted to some of the charges against him, because I don't know how an adult, a grown man, will say that he was misled to admit to certain things. As far as they did not put a gun to your head, you have no excuse. If they made a promise to you, assuming without considering that they made a promise to him, that if he confessed that he will not be prosecuted, once the information was not obtained under duress, whatever he has said is of value to not just the prosecution, but to the rest of us, because we are interested in the truth. So a fully grown man saying, oh, I was misled to say the things that I said because I thought that by cooperating, I would not be put on trial. I mean, it's a very big shame. And he should really be ashamed of himself for even saying that. That cannot be an alibi. Did you commit the offense? At this stage, he cannot deny that he committed the offense because it's clear. Some admissions have already been made by him. So the job of the EFCC is to go ahead and establish fully the admission and do their best to prosecute this matter, and let's put it behind us in record time. That's what we want to see. It's a lot of money that we are talking about here. A lot of bribes here and there and all that. So it's a lot of money. You cannot have a person that the former president trusted so much that he extended his stay only to be involved in this kind of criminal fraudulent acts, using companies, different companies linked to family members and associates of his to launder more than 80 billion naira. I mean, it's as a case of diversion of 80 billion and other companies. Somebody even told me some things that I can't say on air. But it's ridiculous to say, I thought they would not put me on trial. That was why I opened up. I admitted to some of the crimes. Did you get into a contractual agreement with them that if I speak the truth, if I explain just how culpable I am, I will not be put on trial? There is no agreement reached. Nobody even gets into such an agreement. Nobody will put it in writing. So this is music to our ears. We are not interested in this thing. Face your trial. Let's see that case come to fruition. Right. If they have to jail him, let's see him go to jail. It will be good for our nation when we punish wrongdoing in this manner. Right. And high-profile people that emirs are giving traditional titles to. If we punish them, people will now say, yes, in Nigeria, our attitude to crime and justice has changed. We are not punishing ordinary people anymore. We punish the heavy hitters, the big people, the politically exposed big people. We are not just sentencing Yahoo boys to jail. We are punishing big people. We are jailing big people. I want us to get to that stage in my country. There are countries where even former presidents are jailed. You know? So for corruption, let's begin to do that in Nigeria. And if we must make an example of Idris, so be it. We are not interested in his stories.
Right. Now let's begin with the war against corruption and some funny but sad stories that come with it. The immediate past Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, said he thought he would not be prosecuted over alleged 109 billion naira fraud, which he is being tried along with 3 others. Idris said he decided to cooperate with investigators from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and provide them with the information they wanted to ease their investigation with the belief that he wouldn't be prosecuted. BKO, let's begin with you on this matter, because when we look at this, one will wonder what exactly is wrong, or what do you think he was thinking, perhaps because he also alleged that the EFCC had assured him that he wouldn't be subjected to any trial if he gave details that would implicate the former ministers of finance and, of course, the governors. What are your thoughts, first up, on this?
Well, the EFCC have denied making that promise to him. He has already admitted to some of the charges against him, because I don't know how an adult, a grown man, will say that he was misled to admit to certain things. As far as they did not put a gun to your head, you have no excuse. If they made a promise to you, assuming without considering that they made a promise to him, that if he confessed that he will not be prosecuted, once the information was not obtained under duress, whatever he has said is of value to not just the prosecution, but to the rest of us, because we are interested in the truth. So a fully grown man saying, oh, I was misled to say the things that I said because I thought that by cooperating, I would not be put on trial. I mean, it's a very big shame. And he should really be ashamed of himself for even saying that. That cannot be an alibi. Did you commit the offense? At this stage, he cannot deny that he committed the offense because it's clear some admissions have already been made by him. So the job of the EFCC is to go ahead and establish fully the admission and do their best to prosecute this matter, and let's put it behind us in record time. That's what we want to see. There is a lot of money that we are talking about here. A lot of bribes here and there and all that. So it's a lot of money. You cannot have a person that the former president trusted so much that he extended his stay only to be involved in this kind of criminal fraudulent acts, using companies, different companies linked to family members and associates of his to launder more than 80 billion naira. I mean, it's as a case of diversion of 80 billion and other companies. Somebody even told me some things that I can't see on air. But it's ridiculous to say, I thought they would not put me on trial. That was why I opened up. I admitted to some of the crimes. Did you get into a contractual agreement with them that if I speak the truth, if I explain just how culpable I am, I will not be put on trial? There is no agreement reached. Nobody even gets into such an agreement. Nobody will put it in writing. So this is music to our ears. We are not interested in this thing. Face your trial. Let's see that case come to fruition.
Right.
If they have to jail him, let's see him go to jail. It will be good for our nation when we punish wrongdoing in this manner.
Right.
And high-profile people, people that emirs are giving traditional titles to. If we punish them, people will now say, yes, in Nigeria, our attitude to crime and justice has changed. We are not punishing ordinary people anymore. We punish the heavy hitters, the big people, the politically exposed big people. We are not just sentencing Yahoo boys to jail. We are punishing big people. We are jailing big people. I want us to get to that stage in my country. There are countries where even former presidents are jailed. You know? So for corruption, let's begin to do that in Nigeria. And if we must make an example of Idris, so be it. We are not interested in his stories.
Right. MJ, how would you react to this, and what are your expectations?
Yes. With the developments under the new EFCC chairman, Olukoyede, I think we are beginning to see a new EFCC who is working the way they are supposed to be working. This Ahmed Idris character already agreed to return 13.2 billion naira. Now his lawyer came, Chris Uche-san, to say that he was forced.
No, not forced.
He was hoodwinked to make those confessional statements. I mean, who does that? These are hard evidence that the government, the EFCC, has against you. So, and I think some of these guys, you understand that the EFCC under Olukoyede is not the not the same EFCC that we had under Rashid Bawa. Where, I mean, in fact, the EFCC will even mess up the case with the kind of
on
their own, they will mess up the case. But here you can see how they are being methodical. They issued a statement yesterday on the better Edu and the humanitarian matter, stating facts of the matter. On a Sunday, they issued a statement. So, Ahmed Idris, it is only government witnesses who come to witness against you that could be promised a soft landing for being a good witness, not the main culprit.
Right.
I mean, that issue, you should understand that. I mean, how on earth can you come to say because you have made some confessional statements, so you thought you won't be prosecuted? Of course, the EFCC just issued a statement as I was coming in that there was nowhere they promised him that if you make confessional statements, that you will not be prosecuted.
Can you imagine? And his lawyer is saying that he's objecting to the admissibility of the evidence.
Of the evidence, yes.
On what basis?
On what basis?
Not on the basis of it being extracted under duress.
Under duress.
He didn't say they put a gun to his head.
To his head. These
to
are
make those
statements
confessions.
you made.
He's saying they hoodwinked him.
Yeah.
Hoodwinked, that's in what now? I mean, there are new things that I'm hearing in our country.
Well,
real situations that we are facing. This is the first time I'm hearing this kind of thing.
No, the man...
That somebody was hoodwinked
and the lawyer is
to say the truth.
The lawyer is earning his pay.
Let's quickly move on to our next issue of discussion, because the trial of former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has commenced in earnest with charges relating to alleged procurement fraud of $4.5 billion and £2.8 billion. A prosecution witness, Monday Osazua, narrated to Justice Rahman Ushrudi of the Lagos State Special Offences Court how Emefiele directed him to collect $3 million in cash. Osazua, an employee of the CBN, also told the court that he collected the money from a businessman on behalf of Emefiele. BKO, the testimony of Osazua also revealed some revelations that the highest money he collected from Mr. Emefiele was about $1 million in cash, all the money. And he never took, according to him, I never took anything out of the money. What do you make of all these revelations?
I'm not surprised because the CBN under Emefiele was so badly run. Emefiele can go around with king-size Bibles, but it doesn't take away the fact that he ran the CBN in a very responsible manner. That's why I say, without equivocation, that is the worst CBN governor in our history. So many things happened. So many things. And on top of it all, you are as clean as a sewage pit. You are the one who is now punishing Nigerians with Naira repainting. Politically instigated, politically motivated Naira repainting that cost the lives of our people, that destroyed small-scale businesses. Many people have not recovered as we speak. Look at the interventions, CBN getting involved in things that it shouldn't be bothered about. Anchor Borrowers Program, where people took loans using fake cooperatives to access loans and they never paid back. Go and look at the record, the percentage of people that paid back, to tell you that the whole scheme was a failure. And to tell you, to explain in bold relief to you that it was such a massive failure. The intervention was meant to drive down prices of food, cassava, rice,
grains,
and the like, you know. Instead of driving down, rice price began to go sky high. So that is the biggest evidence that it was such a failure, because the goal was to stimulate production, which would then lead to
fall in prices.
Yes, we never experienced that. In fact, rice went to record high prices under this Emefiele of a man. If we look at some of the charges that they brought against him,
There are 26 charges.
you said he allocated forex of 2,136,391,737 without bid. No competitive bidding, nothing. Corruptly received $26 million from NIPCO. Corruptly received $7,720,000 from Raja Punjab on account of forex to his employer. Conferred corrupt advantage on his associate, Limelight Multidimensional Services Limited, to the tune of 900 billion naira. There are others that Majid will also throw some light on, because he's been doing some research on Emefiele. He has not even had sleep for this. Been doing some research. The changes being done, because the CBN is a regulator, for God's sake. To regulate even the banks was difficult for him to do. And that only happens if you don't have integrity. How do you regulate them? We never knew that the banks had more than $7 billion in their
$7 billion.
Yes, $7 billion in their vaults. And we are saying we don't have enough forex to supply the foreign exchange market. It took Cardoso to say, I'm giving you 48 hours, you must sell what you have. When Cardoso said we are moving into a strong regulatory environment, when he told the Senate, they thought he was joking. You can see some of what is getting them to do now. You cannot take a loan in Naira terms and use foreign exchange to collateralize it. No. All of those measures bringing sanity into the sector. He inherited more than 6,000 bureau de change operators. He sent packing about no, they have only about 1,500 or so left. Out of over 6,000. Sent packing more than 4,000. Yes. Even if I was reading Premium Times where they said some of the bureau de change operators registered their bureau de change outfits with funny names like Rice and Beans Bureau de Change.
Yeah, we have a lot of them. We see,
and they were giving them. It's very funny.
Yeah, indeed, it can be really appalling. But when we talk about this issue, BK, what can be done to, strengthen our public institutions, from preventing this kind of situations from reoccurring, because it sends a negative message to the outside world. So what can be done to strengthen public institutions like this?
Our leadership recruitment module must change. We must do background checks. We must get the best. Nigeria has some of the best human resources in the world. Everywhere Nigerians are doing well. God has blessed us with tremendous brains. But we often don't recruit the right people. That is the problem. Before you make somebody a CBN governor, for example, you have to do some background checks.
Right.
Is this person good enough for this position?
Competent, yeah.
You have to, once we find the right people who have integrity, people who are not swayed by money, and there are many of them. You know how Obasanjo, I may not be an admirer of Obasanjo,
right?
Right. But Obasanjo, in picking Akuili, Dora Akuili,
technocrats. Yeah.
He did some research and discovered that Dora was sent abroad on a course. Dora finished, Dora brought back. She didn't spend all the money, brought back the rest. Some other people would have filed different kind of claims just to find a way to use the money. She didn't do that. So if we find the right people, and finding the right people also cuts across party lines. That's where the Americans are different. The president of the US, of America, will headhunt someone in the rival Republican Party. Yeah. If he believes that person is the best. I remember the former Secretary of Commerce also at that time was headhunted from the rival party. After all, it's the country. We want the best for our country. Yeah. Some of your worst critics, you can still bring them into government. True. It's about service to fatherland. Or if I want to be gender sensitive, it's about service to motherland, especially since you are here. But if we do not do that, we want to put our friends, or somebody that we know will not argue with us. Most people in Nigeria, across all leadership spectrums, they don't want people who argue with them. No.
Now, on the night of the 14th and 15th of April 2014, Boko Haram changed the course of history with the abduction of 276 students in Chibok, Borno State. And 10 years after the abduction from the government girls' secondary school, Chibok, a report reveals that 21 of the released girls came back with 34 children. And according to the report released by the Murtala Muhammad Foundation to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the abduction, the report served as a devastating confirmation of the sexual violence and forced marriages the girls were subjected to in captivity. The report also shows that 48 parents of the abducted victims died due to trauma. And let's bring you a report by our correspondent, Theophilus Ilama.
In the wee hours of the 14th of April 2014, Boko Haram seized over 250 schoolgirls from their dormitories in Government Girls Secondary School, Chibok local government area of Borno State. While 128 regained freedom in batches over 9 years, the whereabouts of 91 others remain unknown. The abduction sparked global outrage and took the headlines. It also birthed an international movement Bring back our girls. Now, 10 years later, 91 girls are yet to regain freedom as civil society organizations are raising their voices to remind the government of its promise.
Over the last 10 years, about 1.5 billion naira has been allocated to the Chibok girls. We've asked the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs twice with a Freedom of Information request, and they've not responded either time. So the point is, if you're really engaged and concerned about the girls, if anybody is asking about the welfare of the girls, you should be willing to provide information.
It's not easy to stay without my daughters for good 3 years. Remember, 48 of us are late. And most of them that are late, due to trauma, heartbreaking, high blood pressure, not all of us can eat.
Mothers, fathers, and friends of the Chibok community all gathered here to make a case for the release of the girls. One of the Chibok girls who was held in captivity while narrating our ordeal sent a message of hope to others still held.
Okay, my message to them, to those that are still in captivity is now, they should just be strong. I know they are not finding it easy. Life is so hard for them. They are going through a lot, but they should just hold on.
Nigeria needs a missing persons register. We've only been able to advocate for the Chibok girls, talk about 91,112 because we had their names. At least 38 school abductions have happened. There's no documentation of that anywhere. Even this one, the government has never produced a list.
Like many others who have escaped harrowing conditions in Boko Haram hideouts, these girls turned women now face a different type of challenge, the struggle to restart their lives when so much has changed. It is hoped that government will re-strategize and see the rescue of those still in the terrorist den. Theophilus Elama, TVC News, Lagos.
BKO, I remember when this story first broke and it received global attention with the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. And now we understand 21 of the ladies that were freed returned with 34 children. And also the report stating that these girls were either forced into marriage and, of course, experienced some level of sexual violence. What are your thoughts on this?
Shekau threatened at that time that I will marry them to his fighters. Usually when he issues threats, by his nature, you must take the threat seriously because he will do what he said he would do. That was what I said some time ago, that some people, misjudged the point that I was making. Semi-illiterates on social media, they say, so Jide trusts Shekau so much that he was saying that Shekau doesn't lie. Including one of the spokespersons of the government at that time, Shekau made that he warned. He said, we either sell some of them into slavery or marry them to my fighters. He did that. He married them to his fighters. A good number of those girls got married to the fighters, commanders, and the rest of them. The commanders will first speak before ordinary Boko Haram fighters would get access to the girls. This was what was happening. Dogo Gide, a bandit who has ties to Boko Haram, he did the same thing with the students of Federal Government College.
Dapchi?
No, in Kebbi.
Okay.
That FGC that they stormed. Some of them too came back with kids after almost 2 years in captivity. And some he married to his fighters. So some of these people, they behave like, when we go to war, women are part of the spoils of war. Shekau did that. So these girls were married to those fighters. Even some of the fighters, I remember a case of one of those fighters aligning with his wife, a Chibok girl, to escape from the camp. The big problem that they even face, those of them who are out of Boko Haram's camp and along with their husbands, is the society continues to stigmatize them. They call their children Boko Haram children and all that. One of the girls was saying, after I've had 3 kids for my husband, a Boko Haram fighter, people are saying we should remarry. How can I remarry? Some of them have converted to Islam. And Chibok is a predominantly Christian community. Yeah. So their parents can't live with the fact that they've joined a different faith. They now tell them, come back to Christianity, and they're saying no. A lot of indoctrination has taken place. See, those girls, the ones that, 91, some are dead. The first set of Chibok girls that were released in May 2017 actually confessed that some of their colleagues were beaten by snakes and they died in captivity. Some died of natural causes. You know, we fall sick, we have malaria, no proper treatment in such a place. Some have died. Then there are those that have refused bluntly
to return home
because they've been thoroughly brainwashed, thoroughly indoctrinated, and married to commanders who are taking good care of them. Because when they go to attack communities, the commanders, because of the position they occupy, they are much more comfortable than the ordinary fighters, and they take good care of their women. So those ones, they don't see any need to come back. There was a case of one of the girls who was rescued. I'm not saying Chibok, one of the girls, Borno girls rescued. She went back to the forest. During that time, she was constantly communicating with the husband, who is a fighter. And in the end, she went back because they do not even receive them properly.
That's the society.
Yes, the mental agony that you give them by not integrating them properly into the community is one reason a lot of these girls don't want to come back. Right. That same problem is, people talk about Leah Sharibu. Leah Sharibu is not likely to want to come home. Leah Sharibu has been married twice. Yeah. Inside Boko Haram camp. Married twice. The first husband died. She remarried another person. Leah Sharibu has been trained now as a midwife/nurse. And she has no plan to come back. But because people don't know what is going on there, they'll think, she's probably suffering. She doesn't want to, she would like to come. A lot of them don't want to come back. I saw a video that Shekau released before he died, because I used to really monitor his videos and try to analyze them, where those girls were, Chibok girls carrying guns, AK-47, and saying that they have no reason, they have no plan to come back.
So this is much more deeper than we ever even anticipated.
Of course. Because when people talk, they think that, those girls don't want to come back. Those girls are still there. Many of them are dead. You know, it's a complicated matter. We will have secured the release of a good number of these girls early. But the factionalization of Boko Haram in August 2016 complicated matters. The first time the Nigerian government tried to secure the release of these girls, they had agreed a location somewhere not far away from Dikwa was identified, an open field. The moment they were trying to do the exchange, fighters from the rival camp came and said, if you release any of these girls, we will go and kill all the Chibok girls in our own camp. Because once the group broke into factions, the Albanawi/Mama Nur faction. Mama Nur was a politician, a father figure. Albanawi is dead now, was one of the sons of the man who started the Boko Haram movement. So ISIS then chose him. You know, Shekau got affiliated with ISIS. Yeah. But ISIS got tired of what Shekau was doing, killing people who had the slightest provocation. Somebody, one of his fighters, bought a motorcycle in Photocol Protocol is a border town with Cameroon. It's in Cameroon, along the border with Nigeria. The guy got back to camp, he killed him just because he bought the motorcycle. So they were tired of those reports that he was killing fellow Muslims. So they now appointed
Al-Banawi.
Abu Musab al-Banawi as the leader of the group in August 2016. Once they made that appointment, Shekau said, look, I am not going to pay homage to him. I will do my own. Let him do his own.
He broke away.
The attempt to secure the release of the first set was aborted because they said, look, we are not in the picture. If you take these girls away, all the Chibok girls in our own camp will go and waste them. The government had to make another move. Then in 2017, we secured
The release.
the release of the first set. After the second one, I think President Buhari got tired of the fact that, look, this thing is complicated and it's not free. Yes, we'll get the Swiss government, Red Cross sometimes,
To mediate.
But you and I know that those guys will not simply release girls to you
For free. Yeah.
for free. Unfortunately, since Chibok happened, bandits, terrorists, they've now seen that it makes sense to them to kidnap school children because they will grab headlines as a result.
Yeah.
If they kidnap ordinary people, they won't get that kind of headline. So we have to do our best to stop this thing from consistently happening. Find a way to stop it as a tribute to those girls.
Yeah, and
then if the Borno State, after Chibok, no more kidnapping happened in Borno because the government used its head. The people in government used their heads. They moved students away from dangerous areas. Everybody come to the state capital. That is what some governors are not doing now. Areas that are not safe, you are still keeping students, they are endangering their lives. For me, if a place is identified as unsafe, don't allow any form of educational
to continue.
Move them to the state capital.
MJ, your thoughts on this matter, because we understand that, there are so many eyes, so many angles to this. But from your own perspective, kidnappings right now still persist, even in the north. What do you think the government needs to do to address this underlying issues that, give issues like this? We have the underlying issues we understand are widespread poverty, lack of economic opportunities, and so many other factors like this. How do you think the government can address these issues so that we do not have a repeat of what we're talking about at this moment?
Yeah, I know we've highlighted some of these things on the program before now, and you see, the moment you allow a kidnap to happen and it gets prolonged, then it becomes complicated. So look at the last one that happened in Kaduna, how it was dealt with decisively. I think in about a week or two, the girls were back before they were fully integrated into the system. And we need to take more decisive actions to deal with those who are responsible for this kidnapping, those the terrorists and the kidnappers. We need to take a very decisive action. Very punitive measures.
And punitive in what sense now?
As in, before now, they will say some kidnappers, some bandits have repented, will integrate them back to the system. There's nothing like that. We can never have a repentant kidnapper or terrorist. They should be given the capital punishment. It is, they should know that when for a kidnapper or a terrorist who knows that, well, if I pretend to have repented, I will I'll be integrated back into the system. So that was the impetus for others to stop that kind of activity.
Yeah.
So that's why, because they have not been treated with a hard line.
Them with kid globes.
We have treated them with kid globes. That's why we are getting this kind of stuff. And like I said, if we have a situation where these things prolong, you can imagine, 276 students kidnapped, 185 in total came back, 91
still unaccounted for.
Unaccounted for. Like Didi said, we are not sure if the whole 91 are still alive. So 10 years after, the moment it prolongs beyond 3-4 months, then you can't get them back in whole. You know, and these are teenagers in their formative age. It's easy to convince them to change their minds. So that's why they get them easily married out to those to the commanders and all those. So government needs to take decisive actions, as in stop reintegrating them back to the system. You are a terrorist, then you are treated as a terrorist. I mean, as an enemy of the state. And that is the way they should be treated. For somebody who go into schools and kidnap scores, tens of students, they should be treated as terrorists.
You know, BKO, I remember...
given the capital punishment.
Absolutely. I remember when you were talking about this issue in the north, that it behoves on the government to take this matter decisively and not wait for the central government to come to their rescue. You're talking about they know these bandits, they know these terrorists, so they know how best to, you know, deal with the situation.
They know their locations. You know, I still have a sense of regret that we didn't get hold of Shekau. Not because we didn't have intelligence about his exact location. No. If anyone tells me, oh, the army didn't have exact location, I will not agree. I will not agree. When Al-Banawi moved, because ISIS gave him a mandate to unite after, you know, he was picked up, he was in detention within the group. Their own faction occupies the Lake Chad Islands. They are in the Lake Chad Islands, whereas Shekau stayed in Sambisa and the Mandara Mountains, you know. The Mandara Mountains around Adama, Shekau's men are still there till tomorrow. And then Sambisa, being an area that extends to at least 7 states,
right,
it's difficult to police Sambisa. Sambisa is so huge. And they're constantly moving. But when Abanawi was brought out of detention or prison within the camp, and ISIS named him the Amir.
What does that mean?
Amir means like emir, like the head of the group. They then gave him a mandate that, look, we are embarrassed that there are 2 factions. Go and unite these factions. Take every step to bring everybody together. He then moved to go and kill Shekau. So he got to Shekau's hideout. He had him surrounded. Shekau saw that the end had come. He used his suicide vest to take his own life.
Oh, really?
Yes, that was what happened. He took his own life. Al-Banawi actually, in a video, described Shekau as somebody not fit to be described as a Muslim, arguing that a Muslim shouldn't take his own life. You understand? So, but Al-Banawi was injured in that operation, and he eventually succumbed to his injuries. But the fighting between both groups as a result of the killing of Shekau has not stopped. They've killed hundreds of each other's members. They are now bitter enemies. This one, and you know, one of the reasons it was difficult for them to agree to unite was because if you are a commander under Shekau, one, the Al-Banawi faction will not trust you so much. They want to turn you to an ordinary fighter. You that you are already a commander in hierarchy. Then some of the benefits that you get as a commander, you will not get it under Abu Musab al-Banawi. So they were reluctant to allow that merger to happen. So instead of allowing the merger to happen, they were fighting one another. They will go kill this one today, tomorrow go to another camp, kill the other people. They've been doing that even till very recently. They were still, as recent as last month, they are still killing.
So why is it so difficult to get these individuals? And put
You
them
know,
behind?
now what I'm saying, if Abu Musab al-Banawi could go to where Shekau was, he knew where he was, and led his men to go with a mission to kill him, that means that we have no excuse to not know, because the location is far apart.
Right.
The other one, the Abu Musab,
the movement. Yeah.
they are in, and the movement is not the place. It's not close. You are in Lake Chad Islands, the Tumbus of Lake Chad, and somebody is inside Sambisa. But they were still able to pinpointed this location and came for him. So I'm saying that we need to do a lot more. I'm not saying that we've not done well. People must understand me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a friend of the armed forces. But the truth also has to be said that we need to do a lot more.
Yeah.
Because the more these guys succeed at what they are doing, the more they become emboldened.
Yeah.
Yes, especially in the Northeast, we've done a tremendous job. Tukano has served a lot of justice to these people. They are not as strong as they used to be, let's face it. But banditry has now assumed a larger-than-life image.
Yeah.
Look at the number of abductions that we experienced in the month of March alone.
And to the extent that on Saturday,
855 abductions
yeah.
in 1 month. It's scary.
That's close to 1,000.
It's scary.
Yeah.
And a lot of it not documented. Though.
Right.
Some will just simply go and settle.
Negotiate,
and come back. So we need to be much more decisive, not spare these people, not entertain any peace overtures. Because when they are facing the heat, that is when they make move. They say, look, I want to make peace. Immediately, you make peace with them, they come back and start killing people. So what I'm saying, if the bandit who has killed more soldiers than any bandit that I know is Sani Dangote, that was killed by Dankremi recently. I knew his camp. I went to Shimfida where he had his camp. I interviewed bandits there. So I'm worried that we didn't go to level his camp. I've said it. Why? Why would we not level his camp? Why? Go back to the documentary that I made. I stood on the road leading to his camp, less than 300 meters to his camp. And we didn't level the camp. Why? That's what we need to do. Identify their camps, take these guys out.
Right.
If they suffer a lot of setbacks,
They won't
many
be
of
able
them
to, they won't be able to regroup. Yeah.
yes, many of them will give up.
MJ, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I will align with Gideon. And like I said earlier, we don't need to continue to treat them with kid gloves. They should be treated as terrorists and deal with them ruthlessly and decisively. Yeah, by ensuring that we hit them so hard that they won't be able to recover. They will find it difficult to recover. So they'll surrender. And when they eventually surrender, they should be tried and put in jail. Not for them to be reabsorbed into the system.
I will now be paying them.
They will always go back.
They will go back.
They are different
Look
from...
at that one now, Daudawa, who took a Holy Quran and swore that he will not do banditry again.
He went back.
When he got fed up of the crumbs, he just went back, only to be killed by a fellow bandit. Gordon was saying, why? You've abandoned us. Why are you coming back? That guy took out Daudawa. Daudawa was one of the 2 bandits that worked with Shekau to kidnap the government secondary school Kankara boys in Katsina. You know?
Indeed, government needs to be decisive in dealing with these insecurity issues, not just for now, but for posterity. Well, that's where we have to wrap today's episode of Journalist Hangout. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch a repeat broadcast of it tonight at 11, also on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'd also like to thank members of the panel here in the studio as usual, Babajide Kolade, Otitoju, and Mojid Jamil. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your thoughts on the program. But that's it on it tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Esther Makwariola. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.